we're so glad to have you with us because this show is so much fun. And, we figured it probably would be. And then you get into it and you're just like, wow, this is great. And, a lot of people are going to love this. But when you get a script like this, you must just think, I got to do this, right?
Well, in a way, with Guy, you need the conceit and the concept, and that's pretty much all you need, because he likes to have the bones of the story, but then on the day he kind of enjoys, and it motivates him to throw the script out and find something completely new in the moment. So, as an actor who hasn't worked with him before, it takes a couple of days to adjust, because you're like, what? Yeah. But actually it can be really satisfying, because he finds the best piece within a scene on a certain day, and he's kind of inspired by who the other actors are, what you're doing, what someone else is doing, and feeds off that. And I remember he said, as long as everyone's in it together and willing to collaborate, then you can find something in the moment, which I think is good advice.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of those as a lot of sets aren't that fun to be on, but this one actually looked like it was a lot of fun. Like some of the scenes between you and Dan were just so fun. It's probably hard to keep a straight face and taking all that stuff.
It's hard to keep a straight face with Daniel. We love doing those scenes, and we loved forming a relationship as two brothers, and evolving that. And making it as funny as possible, but then trying to root in this kind of mad, bombastic Guy Ritchie world, trying to root a little bit of sincerity and reality within the relationship. Trying to find that was part of the fun of it.
Yeah, you'd mentioned some good advice from Guy Ritchie. A lot of people look up to you and they think, this is what I want to do, make it look so easy. But it's not always. What kind of advice do you give to people that want to follow in your footsteps?
Oh God, I don't know if I'm qualified to give advice, if I'm honest. Don't make the mistakes I made. Realize life is short, and living it is better than worrying about it. Maybe that would be my timely advice, if I were to ever give any.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, football on our side of the pond, a little bit different, but my co-host Drew Pierce is one of our football legends, caught the Hail Mary, went in the Hall of Fame. We all know the Hail Mary term. But what would you say, he wanted me to ask you, your Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life or career where you just kind of had to go for it and it worked out for you?
I think, children, I think they make you a fuller and better person, I would say. So that they would probably define me. There's something that as a result of them, I feel I've grown as a person, hopefully.
Yeah. Love that. Is there a particular moment on the set that you think you'll always remember working on this one? Because it seemed like it was a special set.
I think I'll always remember, Dan being shouted at, fly like an actual chicken, while he was screaming at the top of his voice. I think that's what I remember. The chicken snuff movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looked like there was a lot of fun to hang out with Vinnie as well, too, right?
Vinnie's great and really nice guy, and I loved seeing him in a little different capacity than we're used to. In Lock, Stock, and in Snatch, he was fabulous. But it's a version of Vinnie we've seen before, and there's a kind of gentler side of him, which I think he plays really well.
Mm-hmm. And was there anything else that you picked up from working with Guy? Because it's a special set wherever he is.
Drink more red wine and eat more red meat. That's what I would say. Yeah.
I love that. It seems like you have a good outlook and attitude towards whenever you're going. That the last thing is there something you keep in mind that always kind of keeps you on the right path, even when things are tough, on the tough days?
Yeah, and I'd say, everyone has tough days in any career, and certainly this one, there's constant highs and constant lows. I think life is pretty short, so I think enjoy it while it lasts. And I know that sounds depressive, but I don't mean it in that way. I mean it's highly precious, and it goes really quickly. So to to waste it is a crime because it only happens once.
You get a script like this, and you both must just think, oh, we got to do this, right?
100%, man. I mean, I'm a big old ham, really, when it comes to the comedy stuff. And I think, to have a part like this, who is so Freddie is so extreme, for want of a better word, it's a gift.
Yeah, big ham or big chicken, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever you find yourself driving a quad bike in a chicken suit with a vape in your mouth and a shotgun in your hand, you just got to take stock and realize.
Yeah, I was going to ask because we've all been on sets before. They're not always as fun as you think. Like when you're a kid growing up, thinking, "Oh, this would be great," but this actually looked like it was a whole lot of fun to be on. Did you have a couple of special memories from the set that you guys will both always remember?
What's your favorite bit?
So for me, there was loads.
Yeah.
Because this is all new to me. I'm new to this acting industry, and there was times where, for me, it was just chilling. I would chill with Dan, chill with Theo, chill with Kaya, and that little moment where we're just chatting and congregating, it feels like we're a little family. And that was real special. I really loved that in the industry, when you sort of link up to do a job, sit down and you build this relationship with everyone. Everyone gets along, everyone trusts each other, everyone's helping each other. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the quad biking was pretty fun. I was like, I nearly crashed into the camera rig at one point because we were sort of, I was like out on the quad bike, just gunning up and down, like free riding, just kind of picking stuff up. And we had the camera guys on the rig in front. And I can't remember what it was. There was like some steep turn happening and he was going to give me a signal. And I just got too into my own...
Freddie time!
My own acting. I swear to God, there's like a take of that somewhere where I came within like 3 inches of the camera.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was cool. That's like not an everyday thing. Oh, it's like it is if you're a professional quad biker.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, part of the job is to make it look like the most fun job in the world, and sometimes it is. So what kind of advice would both of you offer to people that want to follow your footsteps and go, this is the kind of stuff I want to do?
Trust your instincts, I think, and always kind of like, just trust yourself. Trust that you know what you're doing. And I think, when you're in something like this where you have a kind of an artist like Guy Ritchie who really creates worlds that are distinctively his, you have to kind of give yourself over to that process and kind of trust that artistic process. But I think, within that, there's always like scope to just bring your own flavor to it, bring your own style or whatever to it. And I think trust yourself.
Yeah. You say the same thing?
For me, it's a bit different. I'm new to the industry, so
yeah,
the way I've got into it was, I guess, a bit of luck and the universe and that sort of concept. And anyone out there that wants to get into this sort of field, I would say, go for it. Go for it. Like, there's nothing. I came from none of this, and here I am, Guy Ritchie, Netflix, Gentleman TV series. So anything is possible.
I love that. Well, and how do you describe this to your friends and family? Because it's just such a cool show, but I don't want to spoil anything. I want to tell everybody to check this out.
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess the spoiler-free pitch is that it takes the sort of germ of the idea from the movie, from the 2019 movie that Guy Ritchie made, which is this idea that the rich aristocracy of Britain have these huge kind of empires of land and property, but they're cash poor. They don't have any disposable income, so they're sort of forced to get into bed with gangsters, and that's it's an aspect of the movie, but it's not the whole thing. And this series kind of zooms in on that aspect of the movie and looks at, like, well, who are these rich landowners who sort of get into bed with gangsters and don't really know what they're doing and have to figure it out as they go. So it's a little bit of a kind of fish out of water element.
And I think that's the beauty of the story.
There you go.
Yeah, that is the beauty of the story, that it's got so much to it, goes there, goes here, keeps twisting and turning. And I would say...
And there's a guy in a chicken suit.
This is a Guy Ritchie.
Of course.
Guy Ritchie production. You got chicken suits, you got gangsters, you got
Scouse
toss,
gangsters,
you got everything.
You got Ray Winstone, you got Vinnie
Ray
Jones,
Winstone.
you got Jolie Richardson.
What more could you possibly want? Yeah. And did you both learn something from Guy from working with him, working around him, because he's as incredible mind?
For me, from a writer's and filmmaker point of view, watching how he manages everything, so stress-free, smile in his face, like coming away from it, I can only imagine. He's probably done this for so long. It's like he's mastered it. He just comes in. It's just second nature to him. Takes it on really well, and he's a really likable guy, really sweet guy. Very, very grateful for what he's done.
Yeah, I think for me, the kind of the big takeaways were his instinct for the kind of rhythm and pacing and tone of a scene, and understanding where to like lean into the comedy or lean into the darkness, or it needs a bit more of this or less of that. This is too much. I think just kind of his grasp and understanding and sort of mastery of that was fun to kind of get to grips with. And do you know what I mean? There's not that many people whose signature is so specific that when you're watching a Guy Ritchie movie or TV series, especially one in this vein, in this world. So it was fun to kind of, and then to play around within that and kind of test the limits of that.
And what he will allow us to do.
Yeah, what he'll let us get away with.
Yeah, well, last thing, Daniel, I gotta ask you about the headspace you got to get into that. Like such a crazy character like that. Is there something you think about, or I'll put in mind when you're going into that set?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there was definitely a kind of letting go, generally, you know what I mean, and there also came a point in the shoot where it was pretty clear that one of my functions, one of my roles within it, was that Freddie was just going to be sort of ritualistically shamed throughout the series, and so I think kind of embracing that, giving myself over to it, but to a degree, it's kind of like it's easy when you're working with all of these great actors, you know what I mean, and great improvisers, and somebody like Guy who really understands how to hold the thing together. So I guess there was a kind of letting go, but also I'm never afraid of. There's no such thing as too far. Like
there's no fear. Fearless.
Yeah. Not all sets are fun, but this one actually looked like this would be a good one to be on. Do you have some good memories from the set?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this a few times today. I'm quite boring, I'm afraid, on set. I'm quite focused on the work, so not so much fun for me. But I know that a lot of the guys on some of the lighter scenes had just a great time. But what is interesting is watching it as a viewer. I'm laughing out loud at home, and which is brilliant, especially when you're an actor and you know what the workings are, and you know what the setups are, you know what they're doing. To be able to just be immersed in it and forget about all of that and have actual belly laughs, which I have done yesterday and the day before when I looked through some of the show, I went, oh yeah, this is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I think people are going to love it. Well, I mean, but you've always made it look fun, up on the screen, and always have done great work. And people look up to that and they think that's what I want to do. So, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that wants to follow in your footsteps?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily advise them to follow in my footsteps, but if any advice to people who want to get into the acting business, I would say learn your craft first and foremost, and then when you get knockbacks, keep on keeping on, and when the times are going well and you've got heat on you, just be calm, just take it easy, because I've seen people come and go, and it can be that quick, or you can have a sustained career. So I'd say never get carried away with anything, and always be grateful. Simple as that.
Yeah, well said. Now, football on our side of the pond is a different thing, but we have a legendary player named Drew Pearson, caught the Hail Mary, went into the Hall of Fame, and we all know that Hail Mary term now. And he's my co-host, and he wanted me to ask you your Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life or career where you just had to go for it and it worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for you?
My Hail Mary moment, if I understand the question properly, was I was very fortunate to be having quite a prolific career as a musician. And my father showed me Raging Bull, and I went, oh, okay, I want to be an actor. And I was doing really well as a musician. Thankfully, I was playing with some wonderful artists, and I said, no, that's it. And I flew to New York and started studying, and started right at the beginning. And I thought when I went out there, oh, I've got quite a good idea of this acting lark. And I didn't have a clue with the techniques that I was being taught, and the methodology, if you like, which is method acting out in New York. Elements of method acting, little bits of Strasbourg, little bit of Meisner, Stanislas, curtailed for me by my amazing coach out there, Sheila Gray, who's one of the best in the world. And I quickly learned that I didn't know very much. And that was great for me, because I always, I can't procrastinate or just sit at home and not do anything. I always want to try and better myself in whatever area that might be, whether it's gardening, cooking, or in this case, acting. And as an early child, all the way up until that point, music, I wanted to get better and better and better. And we never reach the highest levels of perfection, but you just have to do your best and hope that you're gaining experience and your life experience can inform your work, which ultimately is I think really that's the key to being maybe a good actor.
Yeah, I love that. And you're obviously very focused, and like you said, you are on the set. But what kind of mindset do you put yourself into, just to get into character? Just not only to that, but to stay focused in everything that you're doing.
Well, at work with acting, you make quite specific choices of who you are, who the person is that you're working with within that dramatic setting, and you focus on that. And I mostly take myself to a corner. I'm quite quiet, and then but the art, what actually happens, which is great, is you get older, you get the tool to be able to turn the tap on and off quite quickly. And you can eradicate all the sound around you. You don't have to throw wobblers going, Jesus, it's so loud in it. Move away, be calm, and be able to go, boom, we're on, let's go, and then off. Because of course, when you're playing really deep, dark, edgy characters, more darker than this one, you can't be in that all day long. You just can't. You need to have the tools to be able to turn it on and off. And that's what I try to do.
Yeah. Well, last thing, is there a particular memory from the set that you think you'll always take with you? Just a particularly fun day, or just a good day where you're like, that was great.
There is one that was really lovely and quite humbling. Kaya and I had quite a large scene. It was incredibly large, actually. It was about 8.5 pages in my office overlooking the boxing arena, and we did the rehearsal. And I'll just say there was silence after, and then the crew were very, very, very lovely. They enjoyed the rehearsal, and these guys have been working so hard for like 4.5 months at that point, and we're tired. It's it's a long day, as you know, and it was just nice. They were so lovely. That was a very fun memory for me from the job.
This one actually looked like it was a whole lot of fun to work on, because, as you know, not all sets are, but you probably both have some good memories from this one, right?
Yeah, I had a blast working on it. Guy Ritchie experience was completely new to me. Obviously, Vinnie's an old hand, but not knowing what to expect. You know, in some respects, he's a maverick, but he's also sort of an on turf. So you just kind of go with what he wants because it's his vision, and it felt often like we were making it up as we went along, but he wasn't.
Mm-hmm. And Vinny, you probably had a good time working on this, right? It's great to work with a guy always.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It really was. It was nice. Especially, you know, I've only done movies with him, so this was a lot different. Just got some great time to hang out in the trailer and have breakfast together, and you know, just see how everybody else was kind of scared of him, kind of thing, or whatever. I don't know if that's the right word, scared, but you know, like anticipating, interested, and oh my God, we're on the Guy Ritchie set, and that was quite unbelievable because you know it all started for me 30 years ago with him. So
yeah,
no, it was cool.
I love that. Well, both of you have had such interesting and fun careers, and you know, people look up at the screen and they go, "Man, that's what I want to do." And so, what kind of advice would each of you offer to somebody who wants to do what you do?
Oh, goodness, that's a tough question. I mean, I think you've really got to love it because, you know, maybe in some respects we got quite lucky because you have all the talent in the world. You can be the best looking person anywhere. If you don't have that dose of luck, because there are a billion other talented people, a billion other good looking people. So at the end of the day, there is a huge element of luck.
And if I go to meetings sometimes, like now, like this is kind of the time to go to America and have your meetings. I mean, I spend half the time telling the producers or the talent spotters and all that about one or two actors that I've come across. Do you know what I mean? I do. I go, you know, you really. There was one lad, a mate of mine now, obviously Rick Hoffman, and he got a great part in Suits. He plays the neurotic guy in Suits, and I. Just in conversation, you know, you go and see the casting directors and all that, and they say, "Oh, anything interesting?" I said, "Do you know Rick Hoffman?" And you know, finally he got his break. Whether that was anything to do with me or I do not know, but you come across actors, don't you? Like Daniel, for me, look, Theo and Kira, you know, great and stalwart and everything else. But for me, my standout in this was Daniel. You know, that craziness. He had that craziness, and he played it so well. You know, really, really did. You know, and you do meet people, don't you, along the line? You go, oh, he's talented. Why haven't they had their break? Just need that bit of luck. So Max on this, Max Beesley. I've been chanting Max Beasley's name for years. I've known Max 25 years. Why isn't this guy? He's so talented. Why hasn't he won the lottery? Do you know what I mean? The acting lottery to get that role because he's brilliant in everything he does.
But then there's another thing because there's talent and all of that. And you can break and have a knockout time, but then also what makes a long career. You know, Vinnie and I have been doing this for decades and still working and like in some ways busier than ever. So the whole thing's so mysterious that there is no formula for any of it.
Yeah.
There's not. You can be hot, you know, 1 minute you're hot and then next minute you go, well, I'm no different than, oh, you know, you're really good in that or this, and you go, hold on a minute, I've done a little movie that I produced and I thought I was absolutely fantastic in it, and no one even mentions it. You know, you do something like She's the Man, a goofy little football thing, and, oh, you were great in She's the Man. Was I? Well, none of it makes sense, mate. It doesn't. But you know, I mean, for me, with my football world, I always distracted myself from the bullshit. You know, because there's a lot of it. And I stood back from, I've always stood back from it. You know, there's a lot of bullshit goes on and a lot of unnecessary stuff, you know, and I've always stood back from that. I'm not interested in that really. Because I feel like this is fun for me. It's like, it's more like a hobby kind of thing that pays for my golf really. I had my career playing football. That was the dream of my life, to be a professional footballer. This is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Still, it is
Well,
kind of fun to me.
yeah. Well, Vinny, it's you'll like this. Football on our end, obviously, very different than yeah. But
Well, you know, look,
we,
I've even been, because I said to you, we reopened the Globe Theatre many years ago,
yeah,
and your mum sat in front of us, and she, you know, we were being goofy, and we done Mercutio and all this, you know, Romeo and Juliet, and it was hilarious, and everybody laughed. And then amongst all that, your mum was sitting there, and she went and done this scene where she was crying and everything else, and she sat back down in front of me because all the actors there. But she didn't just stop like that. With me, I'm
yeah,
and I to this day, and I've told a lot of people that as well. I don't know if I told you, but she couldn't just turn off. I thought that was, oh, she's a proper actor.
yeah.
You know what I mean? She couldn't just
She
stop.
is. Well,
Yeah, and she
I
just,
agree with you on that.
she was still going on, and I was like, "You're all right." And she went, "I'm fine."
I love it.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think I don't know what my gift is. I don't take it as serious as a lot of people.
yeah. Well, Vinny,
When I go on
we
set
let
and I haven't learned any dialogue, I mean, that is quite funny.
yeah,
I get to the makeup girls and I go, "Have I got any dialogue
Yeah,
today?"
you say, what am I doing today?
And they go, "What?" I go, "Oh, you better give me the sides then," and I learn it.
I love it.
On the way in.
Well, Vinny, before we let you go, my co-host Drew Pearson from the other side of football wanted me to ask you your Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life and career where you just had to go for it. It worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for you?
Oh, when I grabbed Paul Gascoigne by the bollocks. That was it, right there.
Yeah.
Moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned at 12 years old, and then 10 years later, I did it.
Well, thank you so much for being on with us. This show is so much fun. We didn't know quite what we were getting into, but then you put it on. It's just kind of, episode after episode, and we just have been, really, really enjoying it. And when you get a script like this, you must both think, I got to do this, right?
Yeah, I mean, you do always try and think about it. I mean, it's not always a straightforward decision, and I think it's important that you take everything into account. But the bones of it were 100% there, and I was quite nervous about how excited I actually was for it, because I auditioned, and I hate auditioning for things I really want because I never get them. So it was a bit nerve-wracking, kind of knowing that it was going to be interesting and it was going to be fun. But then also making sure that it was also good. Like, you do never know, even having a director's name attached to something or having a great producer doesn't necessarily equal good all the time. I think we got lucky that this did, hopefully. It's that bit cocky.
Yeah.
No, I don't. You're right. Yeah. I got a phone call because I'd been watching Guy's stuff for many years, right from Lock, Stock and seeing the progression. And, the little subtle changes of him and to get into where he is now. And then you get a phone call from him and you go, okay, yeah, lovely. What are you doing, the gentleman? I've never seen the film, so I didn't know what the film was about. And then you read the script. And the first scene you see of you involved is you're in prison for 10 years, but you've got a barbecue and you've got a Japanese chef. And it seems it's a bit ridiculous, but that's what it is. It's heightened. Everything's heightened. But within that, it makes the reality work, the realism work of it. And for me, that was something different. And knowing what you're going to get with Guy to a certain extent. So, and it became fun. It was fun to do, So, yeah, it was all good.
Yeah, well, as you both know, most sets are not quite as fun as you might imagine when you're a kid thinking, oh, this would be really fun to do. But this one actually looked like it was fun to be on. Did you have some good memories from the set?
Yeah, I mean, I loved every time we see Bobby Glass, he's in prison. You think it's going to be a prison that you've seen a million times on screen before, and you'd get there and he's got a pigeon coop. I was like, well, this is incredible. Like, that was probably my favorite set. We were just on the roof of this old building and they built this pigeon coop and you were inside it in a suit. It was one of the weirdest days of my career.
Yeah. What about that big balloon thing they had floating over with the light?
Oh yeah, the big light thing. Yeah,
you had to wait for the wind to die down.
Even the pigeons were trained pigeons.
Pigeons, He's one of the
Amazing.
best actors I've
It just
ever
blew
worked
my
with.
mind. Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you both made it look so much fun for years on a big screen. And it's such a cool career if you can get into it and do it well. What advice would each of you give to somebody that wants to follow in your footsteps and do what you do?
Learn to pay your taxes correctly. Get a good accountant. Genuinely, no one teaches you about that stuff,
Yeah.
and that's how you get screwed. Teach it in schools. Teach kids how to live life, how life actually works.
Yeah.
I've never used trigonometry, but I genuinely, any young actor, I would say, have someone give you real business advice, because it is a business and you need to learn how to take care of that side of things.
Yeah, well, that covers it, I think.
Yeah.
That covers it. Yeah, go for it. Have a go.
Mm.
You know, if you don't, then you might regret it the rest of your life.
Yeah. That's it. Simple enough and well said. Well, hey, we really, really enjoyed the show and really enjoyed watching both of you as we always do. And tell everyone to check it out. Look forward to talking to both of you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man.
Okay. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.